Hey folks, welcome back to Gaming Garbage, where we take a look at games, chat about the gaming news in the industry, and of course, stream for fun. This one is a different review. I guess I should preface this. I didn't actually plan on doing this at all, but the game was such a surprise that I actually want to do a review. So this is going to be probably longer too than I am anticipating. I got 3 pages here of notes, but anyway, we'll get through it as quick as we can. But the gameplay that you're seeing is actually done by me. And yeah, this is an older game. It's very asset flip heavy type of game, okay? This is not like premium product by any means. But the thing that is surprising and even just fascinated with is that it's a good bad game. And it's fun. I don't know what to say other than that. It's really kind of surprising because yeah, you're playing this, you're like, wow, this is really bad. This is horrible, right? And then as you keep playing, you're like, you start enjoying it, which is just what you don't expect. Okay, so let's get through this. So first, I was interested through the trailer, and while it didn't really look like good, it reminded me of Dino Crisis. Probably have some Dino Crisis fans out there, except it was, of course, Dino Crisis had bad camera angles, but this game didn't have that. It was all first person. So I saw it on sale, basically for a cup of coffee, and I thought I'd try it for a few bucks. The story is that you're on your way to a secret base near Alaska and a part of a fairly large group of mercenaries, and the base has been abandoned for 3 years, and now you're going to go back to actually recover data, and that's what you're being paid for. The idea is just to get in and get out. For game mechanics, everything is actually pretty straightforward in the game as a survival horror adventure. It feels like a first-person shooter from the late 1990s to the early 2010s, like 7 Days or Half-Life or Halo, Black, Left 4 Dead, games like that. All the guns basically take different ammo. Some of them use some of the same, but you're going to go through them much more quickly, and which is good for specific enemies and types. And so they didn't just necessarily throw some stuff together that far. They actually thought through the process a little bit, which is nice. There's also health packs. There's like a one melee weapon. There's also antidote for poison. There's also flash drives to save at laptops. So you can't just save whenever you want. So that makes it a little more challenging for you, though there are auto save points in the game. There's also key cards to actually progress, which is a very 2000Z type of style of game mechanic. Also, you can find a backpack if you can get it, but it does give you more slots. Each gun takes a slot. Each ammo type takes a slot. And so it's kind of more of that kind of survival element to the game. Every so often there are storage crates that you can see and actually break them up to get more stuff, which is nice. There's also armor, which doubles your life and also becomes necessary at higher difficulties. I'm playing a higher difficulty right now, and yeah, I'm getting my butt handed. It's actually pretty hard. There's also credits that you can find that you can spend at like kiosks or storefronts, basically like a vending machine, which is nice. So yeah, you got to manage your health, your ammo, your weapons, what you're carrying, and even what you're going to spend your credits on. So they actually thought through this a little bit more than I thought. There's also a camera that you have to take a photo of different gear in the world, dinosaurs, and all of that accumulates to points with a further different type of storefront further in the game if you wish, which is going to help you get through it. So definitely work on doing those. There also is a crouch button for stealth, which does actually work. That actually works pretty good. You also hold your breath while diving, and you have to watch your oxygen meter. And then you also have a flashlight, which is actually really necessary so that you can see. So when it's dark, it's actually dark. It's not like a PlayStation game, so I appreciate that. The performance. My TV is an LG C4. It's up to 120 hertz with VRR, so that's what I played on. The game is actually very unoptimized. But it's not necessarily a hindrance. So it's not as bad as some games, but it definitely does need some work. I think the fact that the game is pretty simple, that the asset flips are there, and that it is generally lower graphical quality definitely helps. If it was something that was more modern, okay, like Assassin's Creed Black Flag resynced or something like that, yeah, I think it would definitely struggle because there'd be so much there to process. But the frame rate usually that I'm getting is 95 to 115. Bigger areas and more enemies or more things going on, I lose about half of my frames. And that's even with kind of like the bad graphics and stuff like that. The drop too in frame rate is generally gradual most of the time. It's not like 110 to 65 to 115. It's not like that. It's more like stepping down or moving up. It's more like a slider, which is nice. It's not as crazy. And yes, the game is made in Unreal Engine 5. The glitches. The worst is ultimately the shaders, especially when you're on the lab floor looking for some more stuff. It's the worst I've actually seen. And so, yeah, for Unreal Engine 5, it does have this issue, but this is freaking next level. It's literally the entire floor, every wall has like shader glitches. And since it's dark anyway, and you already have trouble with depth perception in the game because you're trying to see with your little flashlight, it just makes it so much worse. So I couldn't wait to actually get done with that floor. Dr. X, for those of you that know what I'm talking about, he actually gets stuck on some doors. Some of them he can open, some of them he can't. So, and some of them too just takes him time to like get the door open. So he's having multiple glitches in the game while he's actually moving through it. You also see through floors and doors at times. That's pretty common for like 90s or early 2000s games that we remember. There's also ghosting of the flashlight, which is definitely an Unreal Engine 5 problem that I mentioned in a lot of games. Routine was another really bad one. This one isn't as bad, but sometimes it can totally make you blind. The more contrast there is, or totally dark area, and you have your flashlight on, you're ghosting that flashlight over the screen, and you literally can't see jack. Also, the angular fish in the water. There's there's an issue with actually getting the hit because all you can do is essentially melee, but there seems to be an error there because every time I'm going to melee, I'm already bit, and so I failed 100% of the time actually trying this. Probably, I don't know, roughly 10 times, and after that I was like, okay, I'm done because I didn't necessarily want to waste my time, but it's very trial and error, and there are some people that have gotten the achievement, but it's incredibly hard. And there's also no bite from the fish. Everything just freezes. So I don't know if that's a glitch either, but there's no actual like animation like there is for everything else. Maybe they forgot it. Maybe it wasn't a part. I don't know. Also, the whole game is very asset heavy, just flipping the assets in the game. So not everything is really like conjoined or smooth together. You know, it's not designed to all work with each other. It's more like it's forced to work for especially for some of the assets, and that's why we're encountering some of these glitches. Also, there's audio volume. It's not consistent in the game. Sometimes stuff is too quiet, sometimes stuff is too loud, and the loud stuff overpowers the quiet stuff, which affects your gameplay. So, yeah, that's kind of a frustration too. The music and the sound design, the music fits actually pretty well. It's not like overbearing in most cases. It's actually very good, but the sound design itself is very generic. Again, this is like asset flip territory. Some of the sounds I recognize actually from the 90s, like Episode 1 Phantom Menace on PlayStation 1, which is pretty wild. So, also other games from the 2000s. So, yeah, this is a very heavy asset flip game, but it is also $20. But the music does a good job working with the jump scares and creating the tension. And then also the fact that you can't necessarily save whenever you want. You have to save at a laptop with a certain number of flash drives in order to do it. So that's kind of nice. That all kind of works together to help create the tension in the game. The good. Well, it's surprisingly fun. I'm kind of shocked to say that, but the game is actually surprisingly fun once you get into it in that first hour. Like you realize it's so bad, and you're like, well, how bad is it really? You're kind of curious about it first, and then when you actually start having fun, you're like, well, I'm actually just going to keep playing the game and keep getting screwed by it, and it's actually a pretty good time. It's also longer than you think it is. There's also more bosses, way more bosses than I expected or even anticipated. There's also decisions in the game, too, that alter the ending. So there's like 3 different endings. There's also more variety than I was thinking since it's an asset flip. There's different weapons and ammo types and gear and enemy types and environments, and there's even some kind of puzzles in there. I'm not trying to oversell this, okay, but there's definitely more thoughtfulness put into the game than I initially anticipated. Because it is an asset flip. Some of the areas and moments and jump scares are great at building the tension in the game. It looks horrible, but the feel of the game, the haptic, is awesome. And I'm going to be doing a state of gaming for this pretty soon about haptic over optic and how this is really the differentiating factor of what sells a game or not. The higher difficulties doesn't just add more health to enemies, but also adds more enemies, lessens ammo. And so there's even more tension there than there was before. Areas that didn't have enemies to begin with, well, now at higher difficulties, there will be enemies, and there will be a lot of them. So you're kind of more sequenced and having to move through parts of the game instead of being more dynamic in your movement and what you're engaging with. There's still sequential stuff you have to do, but it will be even more so because you simply just cannot survive, okay, with the amount of garbage that's coming your way. I just got to say, too, that the game is so bad, it's good. You guys probably know what I mean by that. There's also other game modes, too, like Horde mode, and there's also some others. And so, yeah, they did try to add some of the replayability. And for $20, I still think it's a little high for $20. But yeah, for on sale, it's actually kind of a fun time because I roughly have probably about 8 hours 8 hours in the game, 10 hours, something like that. Yeah, it's probably roughly about 8 hours. Now the bad in the game, it is again a massive asset flip. It lacks refinement. You can definitely see that. Some of the refinement is really lacking, depending on some of the glitches and bugs. There's no game breaking bugs, which is nice. I think too a lot of the bosses are too easy, especially when one of them got stuck. That was kind of a disappointment, so I just shot it to death until it died. So yeah, the game is what it is. But if you're looking for something to play in between bigger games that you're excited about, maybe try Fossil Fuel 2. And it's not a promotion. That's just my personal opinion. Take a look at SteamDB and all this kind of jazz. We will also compare to Code Violet, which also was like a Dino Crisis type of game. That's how it was actually touted in like some of the unofficial marketing. But here we take a look at Fossil Fuel 2. And yeah, it doesn't have a Metacritic score, but yeah, the user is 6.3, which is higher than what you would actually expect, which is kind of crazy. When we take a look at Code Violet, which was only on PlayStation, well, it's a 29. Very bad. This also, Code Violet, was a $50 game instead of Fossil Fuel being a $20 game. So I think this was way overrated. There were bugs in this too, camera angle problems. Yeah, Code Violet was not good. And then when we take a look at SteamDB, well, it basically had about a 71 with only 170 reviews from users. And again, it only got to a peak of 35 players. So again, it's not like it sold very well, but again, it's an asset flip. That's actually going to do pretty well overall. Fossil Fuel on PlayStation Store, again, was $20 for a 3.7 out of 5, which was nice. Code Violet had a 2.8 out of 4.7 thousand ratings. So a lot of people actually, she doesn't actually look like that. Not even close. But yeah, a lot of people actually, worked on buying this, rating this, which I think is kind of sad. And they kind of feel like they got screwed. Some people, though, I mean, they rated this as a 5 out of 5. I think they're high. That's just my opinion. But the majority gave it a 1 because, yeah, it was quite bad. Also, when this game came out, there was definitely a push to give it a 5 out of 5 in the very beginning. But I feel like, the rating for this game, it's more realistic. Because, again, this is not like a main staple. This isn't trying to play into the whole PlayStation, Xbox Wars or anything. But on Xbox, this had roughly a 4, which I'm kind of surprised with. But yeah, a lot of the Xbox players actually enjoyed this. This is roughly a 4 out of 5. So the overall game was really, really fun. I mean, my own personal rating is probably roughly a 4.5 out of 10. But again, it's a fun game. I'm not expecting it to be something amazing, okay? And there is some work put in there, but like some of the glitches, though, just really take away from the experience. I'm okay with it being buggy. I'm okay with it not looking graphically amazing, the fidelity being high. But the bugs can't be, while the bugs are not necessarily breaking the game, they are definitely changing the experience that I'm having. And taking some of the horror, scare, survival element out of it. And that really affects the game. So yeah, I'm giving it a 4.5 out of 10. But haptically, it's fun. It has good surprises. There's some good replay value there. There's simple mechanics. There's no live service in it. And again, if you just want to play through one time on a fairly easy level. You can probably get through the whole thing in 5 or 6 hours. And yeah, it's $20. It's definitely more worth it on sale. I would say that. But it reminds me of kind of the older games from the 90s and the 2000s. Is again, they weren't graphically woo amazing, right? Okay, PC was still so much better back then. But yeah, consoles were just making games, and again, the idea was the fun. And I feel like we're really missing that. Optically, the game is frustrating. It's annoying with the bugs. It's a pure nightmare on the lab level with those shaders just going all over the place. And it's very much an asset flip, not just with the animations or even just with the stuff in the game, but also the level design kind of looks and feels like an asset flip. And there's also the sound effects too. I mean, again, some of these sound effects we've been using since literally forever. So how I'm kind of going about my score is that it's roughly about a 5 out of 10. I'm giving it 4.5 out of 10. But like haptically and how fun it is, I'm giving it an 8. How buggy and graphically it looks and the simplicity of the asset flip, it's a 2. And so, roughly 8 plus 2 is 10 divided by 2 scores. That's a 5. That's kind of where I'm at with the actual game. So I would buy it on sale, basically 15 or less. I think it's worth that. And I'm so excited for this, actually. I am stoked. There's a FossilFuel 3. I hope it comes to console. I really do. If it doesn't, I might have to just play this on PC anyway. So it is to be announced. Okay, it's not anytime soon. It's the same developers, so I expect a little bit more refinement, but still pretty much an asset flip. But FossilFuel 3, I'm excited for this, and this is kind of how you build a franchise. And I feel like a lot of publishers have also forgotten this too. Is that the idea is to start with something, to build the game, to make it fun, to make it playable, and then make improvements as you progress through the series. What we have today is that the progression actually feels worse. There's deterioration, there's focus of live service, and then the franchise is also made more easy instead of actually more fun. Because see, they're taking the satisfaction away from the game and just giving you an experience just to pay more money for, which is backwards. That's not what should be happening. But FossilFuel, what they feel like they're actually doing is they know it's an asset flip. Okay, they know it's corny. They know it looks bad. But they're doing their best with what they have. I'm assuming this is not too many guys. Can actually take a look at the studio here. And this is some of the other stuff that they've actually made. But yeah, most of these are, pretty bad. There's been a few. And some of these two are also pretty basic. But yeah, they've made Knifegate, Foglight. What is this? I might actually have to look at that. Monterey Jack looks creepy as frick. Anyway, so yeah, they have made some of these different games. They are asset flips, okay? But I'm just kind of, my word, I'm just kind of enjoying these types of games. And what's funny is while they don't have a lot of reviews, they are still actually making enough money to actually keep this going. So Foglight Online, interesting. So anyway, that's just my 2 cents. So there is a FossilFuel 3 coming. What I would like to see with FossilFuel 3 is a larger story. Maybe some co-op would be nice. And to build it ultimately like a Dino Crisis with some Dead Space 3 co-op. I think that would be really cool. Of course, improve things, make it better. Okay, make it run better too. Fix some of the bugs. But, and yeah, they wouldn't even have to have servers. They could just have one player actually host both players. I think that would work great for co-op. Also, too, for expansions, could be movies for Jurassic Park. Again, they really got to refine and improve some things, but if there could be some expansions that are about the Jurassic Park working on the license, it would be kind of cool to actually see what they could come up with and to see exactly what it would be, or if they could just make some Jurassic Park games. Because in my opinion, they have the haptic feeling of their games down. The horror element and the jump scares, I think they got it. They're actually doing a pretty good job, but I don't know. We'll have to see what Fossil Fuel 3 is. I'll get to that when I can. But yeah, AAA, the games that we grew up with when they were AA studios and publishers, it used to be these types of games. The focus was the game and the player experience, but today Fossil Fuel 2, it's more fun, more memorable moments than many AAA games. And that's totally backwards. And this is why people are going more toward indie, going toward more independence, is because they're just making the games. The big AAA publishers, well, they're making a store. They're focused on what they can get out of you instead of actually making an experience that you're going to enjoy. But AAA is predictable. It's also too sensitive. There's no value proposition in many cases. It's boring. It's too guided. It won't let me fail. There's bugs anyway. They're saving game progression bugs, all for $70 with microtransactions. Why are we paying for that garbage? My biggest disappointments today are basically all AAA games. Star Wars Outlaws, Gotham Knights, Suicide Squad, Skull and Bones, Assassin's Creed Shadows, Modern Warfare 3, the reboot, Black Ops 7, Black Ops Battlefield 6, Avowed, Redfall, Concord, EA Sports like Madden, Mario Kart World, Pokemon Champions, Pokemon Legends ZA, Starfield, Marathon, Veilguard. The amount of money put into these games that I just named is atrocious for the level of quality that we're getting. We should not be paying for these garbage games. Indies and independents that have excelled. Slay the Spire 2, Blue Prince, Black Myth Wukong, Balatro, The Lords of the Fallen 1. Even though that was really buggy, they fixed a bunch, and Lords of the Fallen 2 is coming out in 2027. Subnautica 1, Hogwarts Legacy, Helldivers 2, Megabonk, Escape the Backrooms, Poppy Playtime, even now, Mecha Chameleon. They've sold over 13 million copies at $12 a piece. They've made like $150 million. But AAA can't hold a candle. AAA can't even get to 10 million in most cases. And the games that they do make also feel worse. They feel less. Monster Hunter World versus Monster Hunter Wilds, I think, is a great example of that. It's crazy. If there are some kind of like smaller games that you might appreciate, I'll recommend Junkster, Rebel Galaxy, Exit 8, and Evoland 1 and 2. I think those would actually be pretty fun. Another one, if you're into puzzles, would be Blue Prince. That one's actually a really good one. And then, too, just play some of the older stuff. It's surprising with a Series S or Series X how many of the older games you can actually play from original Xbox and 360. And, of course, Xbox One and Series X. Going forward, it looks like that's not going to be possible, at least with original Xbox and 360, but we're still going to have the backwards compatibility through Xbox One going forward. So yeah, with Project Helix, that'll be nice. But just playing this game, it just reminded me what gaming was about. And ultimately that I shouldn't be wasting my time if I'm not really having fun. This is the thing too with like Marathon, and I'll talk about this a little bit, was that people don't need a long time to understand that the game is not for them. It's not like these people just literally got into gaming last week or last month and decided to play video games and say, nah, it's not for me. That's not the issue. The issue is that they know what they like. They know what they're looking for. They know what they enjoy in video games. And if they don't see it or feel it within the first hour or two, then yeah, they're not going to play the game. They're going off of their experiences. They go off of what they know about them as a player, and if Marathon isn't for them, it's not for them. And now we have Marathon that has completely bet the farm on the entire thing, and Bungie's going to fail as a studio. Even with the layoffs that they just had, basically cutting the entire team in half from 850 down to like 400-ish, that's, well, that's not going to last. It's still a dead game. But the games like this, we don't feel like we're being sold a lie. We don't feel like there's marketing to get us to push the buy button. And so games like Fossil Fuel 2, they're fun. And they're okay with the following that they get. They're not trying to make it big. They're trying to make it fun. They're trying to find the audience that's out there that will enjoy their games. Same with YouTube channels. It's the same principle. So I don't know. Maybe give it a shot, guys. Maybe you don't overly care. If you've made it this long, though, you might actually be interested. So yeah, wait for a sale, put it on your wish list, buy it for cheap. But yeah, I'm just frustrated with the AAA industry and how underselling it is. And it shows in the data too, because people would rather play the older stuff. People care about their physical disc. They care about ownership. They care about their backwards compatibility. Because again, people want the option. Because they ultimately know giving control over to the company is not going to be better for the customer. And if ultimately customers just cannot get what they want, some will just quit. Some already are. So with that, folks, if you enjoyed the video, like, sub, hype, all that jazz, and share the video if you want others to see this. I appreciate all that you guys do. And with that, folks, I'll see you guys on the next one.